Following on from the St Albans Literary Festival team sharing their Shelfies, I decided I wanted to do the same. So here goes. So here's my first bookcase, and probably one of my favourite bookcases in the house just because of where it is. So this is right at the top of the stairs in our loft conversion, and I just love this because of all the natural light that we get here, and I end up spending quite a lot of time just sat on the floor looking through books. So let's start at the top here. Got a few Kate Atkinson books, read behind the scenes at the museum several years ago now and really enjoyed it. There's a bit of Gervais Finn there, although not one of his best in my opinion. I much prefer the non-fiction ones. Some Tim Moore, which is a very good travel writer if you don't know him already. There's, what else is in there? Some Val McDermott, Sue Grafton, big crime fiction fan that I am. Go down a shelf, and this is where you see the first of some of my vintage children's books that I collect. So here we've got a set of Arthur Ransome books. So I read Swallows and Amazons as a child and would love to get round to actually reading the rest. And this set came from, published in the 1960s, and I found in a local charity shop. Coral Island is another one I remember from my childhood. A couple of Susan Hill crime fiction. If you've not read any of her crime fiction, please do. It's absolutely brilliant. Then we're on to a bit of my, I think what they call saga dramas. So Margaret Atkinson and Carol Rivers. Not exactly heavy books, but again I just really enjoy that sort of setting, the strong female characters in them. Just on top here, balanced here, we've got the first of my Enid Blyton collection. I remember getting Mallory Towers when I was in probably the equivalent of year 1 at school, maybe year 2, and I fell in love with Enid Blyton then, so I collect a lot of those. John Grisham, Peter James, Stephen Fry, a bit more Stephen Fry then. Nella Last, her books, her sort of diaries that are part of the Mass Observation Project are very worth a read if you're interested in the role of women in wartime in the UK. Now we get into the Enid Blyton collection proper. Now this set of books here, which were published by Dean and Son, I think a lot of children of my generation remember the spines of these books. They were on many a bookcase around the country, and even now you see them in a lot of magazine shoots when they're doing sort of pictures of children's rooms all done up nicely. So all this collection is one that I've built up from charity shops and car boot sales and the like. And I do love the illustrations, although you have to admit that some of the books now are a bit dated. Obviously you wouldn't find a gollywog on a modern day children's book, that's for sure. I've written before about how some of the themes in the Enid Blyton books are very dated, and some more books here without the dust jackets on. And then we move down to the real good stuff here, so my Ladybird collection. Now this takes up 2 shelves here, plus more in my daughter's room, and I just love these books. I sit here loads and just pull one off the shelf and go through it. There's a couple of gaps at the moment where ones are actually downstairs with my laptop ready for writing Ladybird Tuesday posts. You'll see there's a few duplicates of some titles. That's just what I do. If I find them, I buy them, I'm afraid. So we've got here some of the Things to Make series and all the other hobby series. Some of the junior science ones, a few of those downstairs at the moment. Football here, these are the sort of job series. So the sailor, the policeman, the car maker in a hotel. The story of books, the story of radio, the story of newspapers, story of furniture. Some of the history books here as well. You can see Florence Nightingale, Queen Victoria, and on to some of the nature books. So Pond Life, The Night Sky, Trees, Your Body, The Weather. Again, I've got some of them I've got multiple copies of, but they're also slightly different versions, so you can just see that from the spine writing on them as well. Down another shelf, and we're on to yet more Ladybird books. So here we've got the whole of the Learn About series that I have. Go along, so these are some of the keyword series, the Learning to Read series, so the older covered versions and some of the newer ones, although most of these books are actually down in Little Miss C's bedroom because she enjoys reading quite a lot of those as bedtime stories still. How It Works, some great non-fiction titles there. The Great Composers and Story of Music and Musical Instruments, they're ones that I featured on Ladybird Tuesday already. Over here we've got woodwork, and then we get into the Ladybird Leaders series. Again, I featured a few of these on Ladybird Tuesday already. A wide range of titles in this series, so you've got things from ducks and swans, lions and tigers, through to coffee and air. Quite a mix. Then there's a few of the fiction titles here, and these are actually heading towards some of the more modern books. There's you actually just see in there a science fiction one. from one of the 1980s series. Here are some of the classics, so A Journey to the Centre of the Earth, Tale of Two Cities, Gulliver's Travels and the like. Again, more of these are downstairs in Little Miss C's room. And then the very bottom bit here, so we're right at carpet level at the moment. Now some of these titles actually are, well, they're just things that are kind of shoved in here because it's space to put them. So a mix of things, everything from Steve Jobs' biography, Dad Can Do, Best of Grand Designs, some of Mr. C's books here, so 50 Cars That Changed the World. In there, 50 Shades of Grey, which I think he got as a Secret Santa gift at some point. A few more books tucked away in here, 1,000 Splendid Suns. What have we got here? Oh, Ken Follett. My mum's read a lot of Ken Follett recently and passed these over to me to read, so they're on the to be read pile. Martina Cole, never really got on with her stuff, but I'll give her another go. Crime fiction, mainly set in the East End of London, but just not quite my cup of tea. And then we're on to some of the wonderful Blue Peter annuals that I've picked up over the years as well. I'd love to have more of these, but the prices I've seen recently in charity shops just make them a little bit prohibitive to collect. Big Enid Blyton book again. A Book of Britain. This is something Mr. C bought me, which is brilliant, but I just never have time to read it. There's a Private Eye annual tucked in there and a book all about kingfishers. And also a bit of the Black & Decker Complete Guide to Custom Shelves and Built-ins. I think we need that with all my books. So that's bookshelf number 1, and there'll be more to come soon.